Coach, obviously not pleased with the game yesterday and how things went, especially the start. After watching the tape, did that just reinforce kind of those thoughts?
Yeah, pretty much so, Footy. I think that the start certainly not starting on time ultimately cost us the hockey game. Special teams execution was not very good as well. So I would clearly say that is the 1 and 2 reasons why we couldn't solidify 2 points yesterday. Did we like the pushback in the second period? Absolutely. We dominated in the second period and at times in the third period. But again, when you're trailing 5-0, usually teams certainly let off the gas. Sometimes at 3-0, teams start getting a little bit comfortable, and then you can kind of make your way back into a hockey game. But at 4 and 5, those are very difficult times to come back in. So was there some resilience and some compete throughout that second and third period? Absolutely. But for me, the defining moment was when they scored that fourth goal to start the second period. It was game over, and that's why we got Sogard out of the net.
And does that second period push, does that kind of serve as a reminder that, hey, if we do start on time, if we do have a good start, we do give ourselves a chance to win?
Yeah, absolutely. And that will be reinforced here today prior to the hockey game. I mean, when you're going through the video last night, there were certainly a lot of positive clips in terms of how our execution, can be really good and give us a chance. And but unfortunately, when you start the way you do and the home team takes advantage of that, it's very, very difficult to chase the hockey games. And that's certainly what happened last night.
Kyle Betts left the game after his fight. First off, just thoughts on him stepping in at that time, because he's not really known as a fighter necessarily, but jumped in and kind of paid the price a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. The Bauer kid's a pretty tough customer, and actually prior to the game, Belsey pulled in Sonia, for example, who's a smaller guy that likes to, is not afraid to drop the gloves now and then, and showed him the Bauer fight from Calgary. A big man, and you know what? You got to give Betts a lot of credit. And quite frankly, I thought from a structural perspective, they were our best line. So no disrespect to those guys that are in PTOs, but when you're Luco and Betts and Boucher are arguably your best line over 60 minutes, not great. A lot of great things are maybe going to happen for the team, but those guys competed hard and did some good things. And for Betsy to step up there and probably not something that he's real comfortable with, it was really good. And it's just unfortunate with a couple of the chances that he had that he couldn't get on the score sheet, because from my viewpoint and gotten confirmation last night, he was moving his feet really well, and to step in there and fight Bauer, the kid was one of our better players yesterday.
And he's all right to go today?
Yeah, he's all good. 6 stitches, a little bit of a black eye, but from all reports from Belf, he'll be in the lineup today.
And had to step in and add some toughness late in the game when Scott Sabourin had left. Not that Sabby would have necessarily been on the ice, but when a player gets recalled mid-game like that, first, how unique is that? And two, how do you kind of adapt to having someone yanked from you like that?
Yeah, certainly only happens in Belleville, in my recollection. But do what we're told, and it's good for him. I'm not quite sure if he's going to be in the lineup today against Minnesota, but we were asked to shut him down, that he was going to be on a recall, and next thing you know, you're rotating through 11 forwards and giving more ice time to other guys and trying to reward some guys, like Boucher and Luco and Betsy and those type of guys that were, playing hard for us.
On the depth as well, Matt Wedman had an assist, was +1 yesterday in his return from a few games off. How good is that, I guess, for his confidence, given the reasons that he was not playing?
I think, from Wedman's perspective, he was trying to play a 200-foot game for us, and eventually he played more center than wing, just because he's actually pretty good in face-offs, and, played a lot of, really was a center in his junior days and played some center for us last year. So, he was trying to be physical and trying to play within our system, and on tape he had a solid game, and it was nice for him to get another point, and I know coming off 11 goals, it's been hard for him. When you start getting up to that 20 game mark without goals, it doesn't matter whether you're a fourth line guy or first line guy, it takes its toll mentally. So probably a step in the right direction for him last night, and hopefully that continues today.
A couple more minutes here with head coach Troy Mann ahead of the Sens and Moose again. Christian Rubens and Jace Howrelek came back back yesterday. How did you feel they reinserted themselves?
Well, I think compete was certainly there. Rustiness was obviously anticipated from us. How we missed eight weeks, really, because he played 5 games, which was basically the first 2 weeks of the season, and we're in week 10. So never easy to miss 8 weeks, and Rubens missed 4 weeks. And whenever you miss 4 weeks when you can't get on the ice because of the type of injury, a hamstring. But you know what? I thought Rubens got better as the game moved along, and how he competed from start to finish. But to rely on those guys to take us to the promised land with the 2 points is probably unrealistic as a coaching staff. And unfortunately, we had some other guys that were snoozing pretty much for the 60 minutes, and consequently, we couldn't get the 2 points.
You mentioned Matt Sogard will go again tonight. How important is it for him to rebound, and especially early in the game, make some saves?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I didn't think Sogi was bad by any means last night, but when your team is sleeping that first 10, 12 minutes, specifically on the road or at home, you need your goalie to bail you out a couple times, and that certainly did not happen at 3-0. And once they scored that early 4th goal, he made a really good save to start, and then they got the rebound there. From our perspective, it was time to take him out of there and kind of reset for today. So we look for a little bit of a rebound performance from him, and quite frankly, we need a rebound performance from all our prospects. From Thompson to Gannett, Reinhardt, Sokolov, Ridley, Gregg, and Cruikshank. You look at those 8 guys, they need to be good today. And the way our lineup's constructed right now, with the amount of recalls and some key pieces still injured, those are the core 8 that have to be good to give us a chance to win today.
And given that those guys are so young, how do you kind of keep the focus and keep maybe the mood a little bit more upbeat as you get ready for this afternoon?
Well, in terms of video preparation today, we're going to be positive with the 5-on-5 clips, because there's multiple areas that when we execute it, it looked really good. It just, the intangibles of a hockey game, and we talk a lot about that, and that's why these young kids, are not in the NHL yet, because the intangibles of competing on a shift-to-shift basis, being ready from the start, controlling the momentum swings, those are all things that allow guys to play in the NHL for 10, 12, 15 years and have great careers. You got to turn the page and move on to the next one, because that's all you can do. And when you learn to do that properly, that's when you start getting rewarded, not only at this level with wins and points and that type of thing, but then you end up seeing yourself in the NHL.
And they'll look to do that today. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks a lot, Footy.